Well, we'll keep our eye on that. But right now, Morgan, joining us on the phone, Harvard Law Professor I. Glenn Cohen. He's an expert in medical ethics. Professor Cohen, we thank you very much for taking time to be with us today on America's Forum.
My pleasure.
Professor, this VA scandal is really outrageous. The wait times are one thing, but to cover up these actual wait times, people dying while the lists are being gamed, completely unacceptable, especially when it appears that this was all gamed and perpetrated to get efficiency bonuses. In terms of medical ethics and legal practice, is this the most disturbing scandal you've heard in recent days, in recent years?
Certainly this year is the most disturbing scandal. And one of the things that's disturbing, of course, is that there were at least two instances where the administration was tipped off and didn't seem to act. One was Deborah Draper, who's the healthcare director for the Government Accountability Office. In 2012, she warned Congress about prolonged wait times. The other is House Veterans Affairs Committee Chairman Jeff Miller alerted the president to trouble about a year ago in a May 21st, 2013 letter. So we're talking about, they had some warning, and I'm kind of curious to find out where the Inspector General for the Veterans Administration was on this. The one thing I'll just sort of clarify, or maybe 2 points. One is that in healthcare law, we often talk about a triangle: access, cost, and quality. This is really an access problem. What's going on here? The VA is usually thought of to be a very high-quality institution in terms of the care that's actually delivered. The problem seems to be that all of these guys have been waiting to access, and women too, waiting to access this care, and these wait times have been unacceptable. The cover-up has been unacceptable, and today is the first time the president has really said anything on the subject. And certainly Shinseki's mad as hell comment seemed quite tepid a couple days ago. So it sounds as though the White House is finally taking this seriously in a public sort of way.
Now, Professor, in terms of exposure, especially amid allegations of cooked books and phony lists, do you think we'll be seeing a class action lawsuit or any form of lawsuit?
Yeah, so under federal law, there are two ways to sue the Veterans Administration for malpractice. Mm-hmm. One is that a statute known as 38 U.S.C. 1151. This allows a veteran or his or her surviving spouse or dependent can claim a service connection for the resulting disability or death when the cause was due to carelessness, negligence, lack of proper skill, error in judgment, or similar fault on the part of the department, that is the VA, in giving hospital care. And there's no statute of limitations on that. The other way is through what's known as the Federal Tort Claims Act, which is a general statute that covers injury occurred due to federal actions, and that does have a statute of limitations. Mm-hmm. So my sense is that they will have to file on this. Now, one thing that's tricky, and this number that 40 people have died while on the wait list has been bandied about. The tricky thing will be to show that they were died because they were on the wait list, that had they had access to the service, they either would have survived or they would have had a greater chance of surviving. They're going to have to show a nexus, a causation, and that may be trickier too. But I would certainly expect a number of people of that 40 and maybe others to bring lawsuits against the federal government in the near future.
Professor, there are points of law and there are points of ethics, and you were speaking earlier about the situation involving the disconnect. The administration, the president on one hand saying he learned of this from television news reports. You pointed out developments in the past where he was forewarned of this. We understand, quote, political spin. But for the president, himself a graduate of Harvard Law School, to rhetorically seem to absolve himself of any responsibility and basically treat this as the first observer rather than President of the United States, does that speak more to his, quote, leadership style of delegation or to an ethical failing on his part, given the magnitude of this scandal?
Well, I never like to bash an alumni, so let me be careful here. Now, I think what it is, so I worked in federal government. It's a very big railroad to run. I have no doubt, when I say before the administration was warned, do I think President Obama himself knew there was some malarkey going on and thought about it? Not for a minute. On the other hand, I do think you see something of a pattern with the administration. And, I'm a left-leaning person, so I wish it were otherwise. But I do think you see a pattern with this administration of things happen. I mean, the rollout of the exchanges are another good example. And then a claim, a reaction of too little, too late. And I do think you're seeing that here. I don't know President Obama. I would never stand in judgment. He has a tough job. But I think it's pretty clear to the Veterans Administration something seriously went off the rails here. And at least General Shinseki, I think, needs to take, responsibility to whether it's his fault or not. The buck stops with the cabinet, and the buck stops ultimately with the president.
We'll have to leave it there. Harvard Law Professor I. Glenn Cohen, we thank you for your familiarity with the law in this case, and when it comes down to medical ethics and really leadership style within the Obama White House. Thanks very much for your time. So let's put it to you. What do you think? Does the buck stop with the president? Do you think he knew about it? Why don't you contact us at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum?